Pledge A Palooza is returning. What this really is our, I'm going to go back. This is the orientation for Pledge A Palooza, obviously. But our theme for our gala is Friends Helping Friends. It's for like our 20th anniversary. Just because of what I just kind of said, is that we've been helping each other all this time. We've got, people that have set up funds that have done it with they come out, like Mrs. Shunk set up a scholarship fund, and then it turns out later her friend Betty started a scholarship fund, and they've known each other since they were toddlers. And so now they do this together. Stan Kowalski talked about all the things that his wife has done over the years, and it's a big list. But she was one of those friends helping other people who couldn't help themselves or didn't know how to make the nonprofits more effective. Or the story of Erica Richards and her friend Jenna, who are both nursing students, graduated from nursing school. They did this together using Unity Foundation scholarships. So it's just this cycle of friends helping friends. Or it's like Tim Gartland helping some of his clients. He's a friend to them and helping them do their things. It was a common theme that we noticed as we were looking back. So just keep that in mind. Pledge A Palooza returns. All this really is an excuse to raise money. Okay, that's really all it is. We did this in 2008 and thought we'd raise maybe $20,000, and we ended up raising $125,000 in one night for your funds and for Unity. So, what we really want to do is get you ready, drum roll, for April 26th and 27th, 2013. So what is this? It's just simply a fun way to build your fund with Unity. The Unity Foundation Board is providing $20,000 in grant prizes. I'm not saying grand, but grant prizes. And it's a way for you to raise money for today and tomorrow for your fund. So how does it work? Raising money for your fund. The idea is starting, and I'm pretty sure somebody suggested starting this as 0600, 6 o'clock a.m. on Friday the 26th. And goes through 9 o'clock on April 27th. Now, if you guys have a better idea, this is the time to make that suggestion. And then this will end at the gala, and the top 5 funds that get the most gifts will split $15,000. And then there's going to be 5,000 other special grant prizes, which I'd like to get your input on. So, why do we need this? Okay, why do we need this? It isn't just because some of my board members in 2008 for our 15th anniversary said, we don't want any auction at our dinner. We don't want any stuff home. We don't want to bring any stuff home. So that's what they said. So we had to innovate and come up with something different. It wasn't just because of that, although that was a good thing to do. It's because we really do need to do a few things. One is we do need to increase the philanthropic giving in LaPorte County. The Quality of Life Indicators Report, how many have seen this? Have you looked at this yet? Okay, it's a very good report. Can you see that, Stan? In the chapter on culture, arts and culture and so forth, each have a copy of this. There's an interesting segment on average total annual charitable donations in the region. It says here that, this is on page 52, that the Lake County residents gave at the highest rate at about 4.1% of their median income, while Portage County residents gave 3.6% and LaPorte County residents gave 3.2%, which even still lags the state and the nation in terms of percentage of charitable giving. So one of the ideas is people give because of one major reason, because they're asked. And so either we're not asking enough or people really aren't as generous, but I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that we haven't done enough asking because we're too afraid or we're too polite or something. But I think we need to ask more and ask in a fun way, make philanthropy easy and fun. So you might find this report interesting, but that is one of the biggest things we need to do. The second thing is that we are experiencing a very significant transfer of wealth right now in LaPorte County. As that slide says, that in the next 10 years, a whopping $1.5 billion, and that's with a B, that's a pretty big number, is going to transfer from one generation to the next, just in LaPorte County. And if we could encourage people who have money to leave 5% of their estates, just a nickel of every dollar, if we could, and endow it somehow, whether it's with Unity or whether it's with the Hospital Foundation or Purdue or whatever, Ivy Tech, and endow it and pay out 5%, that could generate up to an additional $4 million a year in charitable income for LaPorte County causes. That's huge. But if we don't ask people and don't remind them, then chances are they won't, and that wealth will be lost, forever, leaving the state to go wherever it's going to go. And then the third thing is that we need to strengthen LaPorte County, and we do that by strengthening you. Because the stronger you are and the better your organizations are, the stronger LaPorte County is. And the more you're able to respond to those opportunities, threats, needs, grant opportunities, and so forth, like organizations like you all have done. And the fact that it enables you to raise money for today and tomorrow. We'll talk more about that in a second. So it's just really an excuse for you to go talk to people or get the word out that you'd like some support. One of the big questions we did get is, in 2008, all the gifts that were raised went into the fund principal for endowment funds. We know that it's a different time now. It's a different economy. So the answer is no, all gifts do not have to go to principal, because what we thought we would do is split it. Because you do want to raise some endowment funds. It's never easy to raise money for endowment. It's kind of like going to the dentist, or doing your will. It's something you put off until you have to go. So the idea is that we'd split it. So if a fund raises, let's say, $10,000, then half will go to principal and the other half will go into their spendable. So you can use spendable for any number of things. One is you can use it for that rainy day fund that you've always wanted to build that never get around to. Or you can use it, you could ask for the money right away to say we really need this, to upgrade our computers, or give our staff a little bonus because they haven't gotten salary increases in 5 years or whatever. There's all those realities of running a nonprofit. But the point is 100% of that goes into your fund. So, and then any prize grants, extra ones, will go into your spendable account to use however you want it to use. Okay, what gifts count? First of all, as Sandy mentioned, we're trying to move everything we do into an online platform just because there's so many people that don't want to write checks, which is okay with me. So online gifts would count, including like a monthly pledge. People can sign up now and say, I'm going to give to Housing Opportunities Fund, $50 a month for the next year, until I say stop doing it, and then we can start doing that. And that then becomes this real snowball effect for your organization. Planned gifts. And planned gifts, we didn't include those in 2008. First of all, we didn't think about it. But second of all, we didn't have the transfer of wealth information really off the top of our heads. And we know that's really important because we just have to get more people to think about leaving unity for you in their wills. Leaving anything in their wills, charities. How about getting a will? So many people don't even have wills. So we need to encourage that. In planned gifts, examples would be wills and trusts, charitable gift annuities, life insurance, these kind of things. And we'll talk more about that later. But that includes the planned gift part, or the nickel campaign I call it, has already started. So any gifts, planned gifts that have been verified between now and April 20th, which is a week before the event, can count toward the contest. So if you or one of your donors or board members have ever thought about leaving a planned gift, this is the time to do it, to your fund. So we're giving them a deadline.
If they're planning to do this, we should wait until that period at 26 to 27?
The planned gifts they start counting now, because those take people a long time. If they're going to change their will, they need to get their attorney involved and so forth.
So planned gifts start now.
Start now, right, yeah. And I'm sure you'll have more questions about the other part. But the cash gifts, the today gifts, that's really for that 39 hours in April. So
how would those gifts be verified to? What is it that you need?
I will tell you that in a moment. But I knew you'd ask that question. So who can join this fund? We picked the brains of some of our committee members and friends, and we decided to open it up to all of the funds at Unity Foundation, but they have to opt in. So, because there's over 180 active funds in the Unity Foundation, that's a lot for our donors to sift through. So you have to trigger it to get into the contest. Now, any fund can get a gift during Pledge A Palooza. It's not like, of course we're never gonna turn down money, but if they want to be part of it, they have to opt in, and there is an opt-in form in your packet, which we'll again talk about. But that's all you have to do is just sign up. We prefer that your whole board knows about it, and it isn't just, you talking for your board. But if you want to sign up today, feel free, so. All right, so what happens in April? So we're going to open the online Pledge a Palooza leaderboard for 39 hours. You'll get all your supporters to make a gift or pledge. Now I said all, you have to get everybody now to sign. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully everybody would make a pledge of some sort or a gift of some sort. Most of this will be credit card, just online, PayPal or credit card, any credit card they want to use. So most people will find that the easiest. So then at 9 o'clock on the 27th, we'll celebrate the winners. And it all happens live and online, so anyone can join in, even if they're not in the room. Now, last time we had people on their cell phones literally talking to people who weren't there that night, to try to get, so that they could win. And that was great. It was fun and exciting. And you'll still be able to do that. But they can still sit at their home, or if they have their smartphone and they're at a ball game, they can still watch what's going on in the ballroom at Blue Chip, even if they're not here. So everybody can participate. And that also means that we can broaden our scope to people who maybe don't live here anymore. Al, all your friends, all your friends from Elston High School, can participate.
It can be
Florida, right?
It can be international. I mean, really, people they can log in from anywhere. Didn't we get somebody pledged from Australia or something?
Something like that, yeah, yeah. So who won last time? We had 73 funds that participated, that actively went and raised money. We raised $125,000 in that one night, and Warren had to do all the adding up of all the pledge cards, so he didn't get to eat that night. So we found out that wasn't going to work so well the next time around, so we thought we had, not that he's not able to do it, but it was a big job for one person. And the winners were Junior Achievement, the Y, Salvation Army, Michigan City, Boys and Girls Club, Dunebrook, and the Women's Care Center. Now what's interesting about those is that only one of them has a full-time development staff person, maybe two, if you count, I don't know, because you do a lot of events and everything too, but so a lot of these groups did it just on sheer willpower and the dedication of the board of directors and volunteers and so forth. So you don't have to have a big, group. JA, it was their board that really did all that by themselves. So, and maybe if a few of you if you're here, want to talk about it at the end, that would be helpful to know what your experience was. But the basic thing is everybody in LaPorte County won. So here's what the leaderboard's going to look like. I mean, this is one from San Diego, and Porter County just did their Give Day last Thursday, and I went on. And we made a gift to Housing Opportunities, because they're our friends, just to see how it would work. And it was so easy. I mean, it didn't take any time at all. I mean, you know how you go to order things online, and then they bounce you back because you didn't fill in a field, it was effortless. It was just totally effortless. So, and this is an example of what it'll look like. So you can see all of the nonprofits over there, how many gifts they've got, and they say eligible gifts, because not all gifts are eligible, meaning they didn't fill out the form right. People do sometimes, they'll start it and then they'll get distracted and they don't finish it, because that happens. And then the amount that agency raised. And then there's a little bit about the San Diego Foundation on there. But then at the top they had the totals. Now I'd love it if we could raise $2 million like San Diego did, but I'm not, 200 would be great, but 2 million.
200,000, not $200.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Sandy, 200,000. So, and this is what'll go live, and one of our younger folks suggested 6 in the morning, because some people will do that kind of work. They won't do that at the office. They need to do that at home before they leave, or whatever. So she thought it would be better to start at 6 o'clock. Does that seem like a good idea, or is that too early?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I think definitely early. Why not start at midnight? I mean.
Well, 39 hours is a long time for you to be on task. I mean, that's just it, because you're going to be, and maybe Latasha can talk about that too in a minute, just because you're kind of on pins and needles, you're kind of out there trying to beg people, remind them that it's time to do it. I got several emails from both Latasha and the Porter County Community Foundation just reminding me, that it's time to do this, and then I could go peek at the leaderboard, and it was really fun. I mean, you feel like you're a part of something, So then I couldn't get the live thing, but what we'll do as well as we're going to have the categories depending on how many groups sign up. I mean, if only 12 of you sign up, then we could just have your agencies right there and that'll be fine. But my guess is we'll have more than that. So we'll categorize them by what category. So you want to think about, I think we know where you are, but which category. Then they'll go in and click on, let's say this example was somebody clicking on community improvement.
So it
So-
would be important for you all to tell your people where you're located, make it easy for them to find you online.
Yeah, so you'll know. And then we listed, here they list the separate ones under that category. So they have neighborhood innovation, and they've got these other ones. And then we would prefer that you write that little paragraph about yourself, and we're hoping that we can even do a little, if you want to do a little informal YouTube video, or if Ryan's in town, he can make a nice little short video about what you do or something to get people kind of engaged in what you do. We're trying to do that. So, I mean, it's something you could do on your iPhone. We're not talking about something real fancy unless, Ryan's available and he can, he has volunteered for that, haven't you, Ryan, a little bit, Yeah. And then, from there, then you go right into the thing, the pledge part. They give you easy choices. Then you just put your name and your payment details and you submit. It took me, the longest was typing in my card number. I mean, it was really quick. So what we will provide, so there's things that we'll do and there's things that you, by opting in, agree to do. One is that we're providing some prize money. I would love to talk to some donors about upping that in some way. I just haven't gotten to that yet, to maybe make that pot a little bit bigger if we find people that would like, who think that's a good idea. We will also provide guidelines, but right now that's all we have. Right now, and then we will provide the guidelines and guidance. We're going to provide the marketing muscle, because we have some, and we'll be, again, promoting for all of you, because that's what we do. We will also provide charitable information and giving ideas, because that's what we do. We love doing that. You're also going to have the use of our own Warren Ransom and other giving expertise. So Warren will be, I don't know if he's going to be at your beck and call, but he's happy to make presentations to either your board. He didn't know he volunteered for that either, right? Yeah.
And she gets you on tape.
Yeah, and he's on tape. He nodded. See, did everybody see that? He nodded. Yeah. Oh. So no, Warren has 40 years of trust and estate planning experience, formerly Pam's boss at Wells Fargo. But no, he's just got a lot of good ideas and can help your people think about things. But I have to put my disclaimer in here that Warren is not a professional advisor that is giving your client advice. We're just giving you ideas. They really need to talk to their professional advisors, their attorneys, accountants, investment people, insurance people, et cetera, to make sure that that idea is really a good fit for them. So we also provide the philanthropic vehicles, which we'll talk about in a minute, so that you don't have to. That's what the Community Foundation does for you. We make things easy and fun for not only your donors, but for you. So we're also providing a reason for people to give now versus procrastinating like they've been doing. So we also will provide the web-based infrastructure, which includes online giving, automatic receipting, so people get their receipts right away through their email. And then another important factor is anonymity. Some people, especially the bigger the checks they write or the bigger the gifts they make, sometimes they don't want people to know. And in this case, we won't even know who they are. So they can have anonymity. Materials. We will provide print, digital, and planned giving materials. And most of that will be at no cost to you. And then information on those who supported you. So if people did give online, you're going to know who they were, and at least what their email address is. So you'll get that information when all's said and done. Okay, your organization will, this is a little bit longer list, you're going to agree to put the Pledge A Palooza widget on your website, and Gabby Jacovietz, who is our development assistant, will be happy to help you. And this presentation is going to be online too, so if you can't read the small print, we'll get it up there. Gabby is willing to, she's in class right now, help you or your web person with doing that, but it's real easy to do. You also have to agree to learn about the different giving tools and be able to, kind of describe some of the whys, hows, and where. And again, in the simplest terms. We're not talking about becoming a planned gift specialist. but just some basics. Identify key prospects. You might have to go through it's ideal to go through your list and say, okay, who are real good prospects for what kind of giving? And this is stuff you should be doing anyway, so if you're not doing it, this is your excuse to do it, because we're all really busy. You need to make a case or even a short YouTube video about why they should support you, so that'll be what we talked about before. So that could be, and it should be fun and light. It shouldn't be, showing, I don't know, it should be fun and light, because this is going to be a fun and light evening. And then you will need to email encouragement to and with your supporters before, during, and after the event. So you're going to need, that'll be your job to do, unless you give us their emails, but you don't have to do that. We need you to tell people how you're going to use their gifts. So, and that, again, becomes the compelling thing. Like, we really need this. We really need that. That's why you should give. So it would be good for them to know that. Your organization will also give supporters a reason to make play and online gifts, because it's your work that they love. It's you they want to support. It's not so much Unity Foundation, because we don't do all the things that you do. So you're giving them that reason. We also want you to come celebrate it with us on April 27th, 2013. So put that on your calendar. I have some save the date cards, so we'll get those to you. And then your organization will benefit in many ways, because you're going to have more funds for today and tomorrow, and hopefully have some fun at the same time. So.
Hey, you said this is going to be online, this whole presentation?
Yeah, I'm just going to, depending any changes that we come up with today, this will go online this afternoon.
This afternoon?
Yeah.
Oh, good, because we'll have a board meeting tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, so you can print it out or do whatever you want, yeah. And I'm happy to come talk to your boards.
We meet tomorrow at noon, Maxine's,
Yeah.
free lunch?
Oh, yeah, well, I could do that. I don't know. Oh,
Maybe the next board.
it's Jerry's funeral.
We've got plenty of time. I mean,
Yes,
I'll bring it up tomorrow, but I'm thinking I could have you or Warren there in the next few months.
yeah. And we've done a lot of educating of your board, but you have some new board members too. So, okay. Yeah, so this would be online. What you also need is an inspiring goal. You might say, our goal is, well, Lee just had a goal of $50,000. I don't know if you want that to be your goal again, but you could just say,
I'd love that to be my goal again.
it's been inspiring. That would be a good goal, wouldn't it? And that's up to you. That's where you're going to have to go put your thinking cap on.
Setting a goal does make things happen too,
Yeah.
as a board,
So, yeah,
so everybody buys into it.
Lee has a really good point.
This is a really neat opportunity, it really
It
is.
can be.
I mean, I can see how it's going to help us all.
That's the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the point. And
People like competition, that feeling of, ooh, let's get in there, it's kind of human nature, we like to compete.
yeah, so competition is going to get you to do things you need to be doing anyway. And if you set a goal, then it makes you think about what is a realistic goal, and what happens if we don't meet our goal. Are we going to feel sad, or are we going to be happy because we still raised $25,000 even though our goal was 50, because that's 25,000 more than we had before. Those kind of things. So.
And then I like purposing it, what you said about making sure people know what your money is going toward in particular. I think that makes everybody have more ownership.
Right. And the endowment part is something that not all of you talk about a lot, because you're trying to survive today, and we understand that. But that's your way of saying too, we think we're planning to be around for a while. Like, you guys don't even have a fund yet, but I'm hoping you do. And then, because that says you're going to be around for a while. That tells them that you're not going to, you're not just a whim organization. And you might have started out that way, but you're not that way anymore. So, with the Open Door Adolescent. So, you also need some champions. You're going to need some internal and external champions. You need people on your board who are going to keep this going, and then people inside your organization, the staff, to do that. If you don't have that, it's going to be a tough go, or you're just going to go on autopilot. You're just going to throw it out there, see what people do, and that's okay too. This is not meant to put stress on you. It's meant to facilitate things that you need to be doing anyway. But it will be exciting, and sometimes excitement is a little stressful, but it's a good thing. You also should probably have a brief plan to optimize the opportunity. Again, just here's what we're going to do, here's what we're not going to do, because you can't do everything. We know you have 12 million other things on your plates, and there's only going to be so many things you can do on this. We also think that you need everyone in your inner circles to be able to talk about it. Your case statement, why Pledge a Palooza, why you want to do this, and they need to be able to talk about it accurately. And then you also need ways to get the information out to your specific supporters, whether it's email addresses, a mailing list, or just word of mouth, or events. Your timeline. between now and April, a good idea to start planning, to educate your board members. Cece's got the right idea, start with the board members first. Build your teams. Start putting teams together, or a team together anyway, to just focus on this. Again, it can be as simple as you want it to be or as elaborate as you want it to be. Also between now and April 20th, the plan giving thing. We'll talk more about plan giving, but right now there's a unique opportunity with the uncertainty in the tax situation for the federal estate tax, federal income tax, that our experts are telling us that if anyone is thinking about giving money away, whether it's to family members or to charity, 2012 is the time to do it. Now it's getting a little late for that. Warren knows all about that, and we can give you more information, but that's really what everyone's saying, and Tim as well, is do it now, because 2013 does not look very friendly to people that have a lot of assets, correct? Yeah, okay, he nodded, all right. And then also start promoting the Pledge A Palooza, the gala, but also particularly the fundraising activity, that they should start setting aside money, doing things for that time. April 26th and 27th, you'll be doing e-blasts, maybe phone, mail, asking people to support you. And then May and June, that's your time to thank all the people that helped you, and then enjoy the funds, however you plan to enjoy them. That's how you're going to do it. Our timeline, because again, we're in this together, is we're going to finalize our web infrastructure. We're getting that in place now. We are going to be, like today, educating and supporting you. We'll be doing some plan giving education, and we're not sure what that's going to look like yet. It's really going to be up to you to tell us what you think might work best for you. We'll have some basic stuff online, and we'll give you some materials today, but there might be more that's needed. So if you have like a core group of your supporters and you want just something special just for your group, then we can do that, or whether we just do a big kind of thing where people just get invited, but to learn more about it. We're always educating the professional advisors. We just had a workshop with Laura Hansen-Dean in conjunction with the Hospital Foundation, and that was a great review on easy ways to help their clients be charitable. That week, again, of April 26th and 27th, we'll be doing heavy publicity and excitement, building excitement, and of course we'll be celebrating the winners. And then we will also be thanking all who helped, and again, our job is to get the funds out, where they're needed. So we'll do that. Okay, so in your packet we have a bunch of frequently asked questions, which some of you have already kind of looked over. So why don't we just take any questions on that at this point? So I'm not going to go through all these, but these are just some examples of some of the questions. You all have that frequently asked questions thing in your, looks like this. And if you don't have one, everybody have one? Oh, Pam's already got hers marked up. I love that. Okay. Anything that I should fix? Anything that, questions you have about those? Just looking over. So if we had someone who wants to tell about how it worked for them, I just take the mic off and give them the mic, which I can do.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that'll probably be for us.
Okay.
Maggie, number 6 says gifts can be pooled prior to the event, but all gifts must come through Pledge A Palooza online platform. So if someone comes to the event that night or the day before with a check in hand, does that not count? Because it's not going through the online?
We're checking on how the platform works on that, because I know some of you will want to start, doing that just because it's easier. for you guys. We're going to find out exactly what the capability is of them. I would prefer it not be probably that night, but that kind of thing. So we're trying to do it. And then if we can do it so we can avoid some of the credit card fees, that would be helpful too, you know,
I
so.
guess in some of the donors that I know would be out there, might be at the spot where they're not comfortable with online
Right, yeah,
type giving and would much rather write a check. And those are the people that the check's probably gonna be bigger than someone's online giving.
yeah. Right, and we're trying to be sensitive to that too.
Sure.
So, because the platform has all the capabilities. We just have to make sure it times in with the event. So, so if someone were to make a pledge, let's say you talk to somebody and they're going to write a check for $5,000.
Right.
Then the system can track those kind of pledges as well. But we have to make sure that they actually pay them, because we don't want people to make a pledge and then, oh geez, and they win the prize money, but then they never cough up the money. So we want to be sensitive to that as well. So we'll give you a little more detail on that once we have that worked out. But the answer is yes, we should be able to do that, and sometime, hopefully prior to that event, you can let us know what you got. And then, so when you start, theoretically, when you start the pledging on the 26th, then it'll already show, should already show, or soon after, you know, that you have raised.
Gotcha.
At least, like, you give me one check, but it's for $20,000, even though it's 10 people that came together to do that, then, you know, that's what it will show up on the leaderboard, so.
Because as Maggie said, there is credit card fees, and so really if people were going to come in at a high level, then we might indeed want that consideration, rather than have those fees come out of that amount at a higher level, that we are able to bring it in through, you know, a different capability, because then that preserves the bulk of the capital to go toward the fund.
But most of it will be through the online giving thing, so.
Makes sense.
Yeah, just because otherwise it doesn't connect to the leaderboard and then it doesn't show and then you can't win. So it's got to go through that system, you know, somehow. So we're going to be testing the leaderboard concept, not the leaderboard, but the online giving piece now. We're getting that done for our regular giving, and then we'll know, we'll have a much better idea of exactly how all that will work. But the answer is yes, we should be able to do that, but we'll have to give you more details once we figure that out.
And maybe this is just way too much work and too much craziness, but maybe there's I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 laptops there at the event where they could have their check in hand and
Yeah.
pledge right there online if they're not comfortable pledging. Here's my check, have some staff member do the.
Absolutely. In fact, we will need some, that's a good point, because that night, one of the reasons we picked Blue Chip is also, and Tim's question is, are we going to have people there so you can take a lot of pledges that night? And so this will be here. We'll have other data, you know, equipment there, so that we can go around, people can either go to a table and do it, to make their pledges right there, because not everybody wants to sit there on their iPhone in the dark and, you know, enter that kind of stuff. So we will absolutely have people there, and you can, if anybody wants to volunteer to do that, that is great, because we'll need volunteers to actually work that evening and do these things. And we only have one of these, so we'll need to round up some more to make those transactions. So yeah, that is the idea. So, but also Blue Chip has enough bandwidth now and capability to handle if 600 people came and they all got on their iPhones at once to make a pledge, it wouldn't bring down their internet. So, because we're pretty sure that we're pretty sure that wouldn't happen, but we know they have the capability of doing that. So, and that'll be part of the fun that night. So that's a good question. Let's talk about the planned giving, the nickel campaign. I'm sure you'll think of some more questions. But the second piece of paper in your folder, excuse me, is the Pledge A Palooza nickel campaign, which outlines the planned giving part of it. And it basically talks about the transfer of wealth and about the prizes again. A planned gift, though, the way we're defining it here, because you can define it any number of ways, we're just calling a planned gift something is a gift that happens when someone goes beyond writing a check, dropping $20 in a basket, or using a credit card. So anything beyond that we're calling a planned gift, because that means they had to plan it. They had to do something. So again, they can be rather simple, or they can be complex enough to need your professional advisor. And again, we strongly recommend that people consult with their professional advisors before they do anything major. There are basically two kinds of gifts. Irrevocable planned gifts, which those are gifts that will generate a federal income tax deduction, and where a beneficiary named cannot be changed are considered irrevocable. Those are much harder or much rarer for people to do, but examples of them would be a charitable gift annuity, and in your folder is a little brochure, and again, we have these available at no cost to you, describing what a charitable gift annuity is. And Unity Foundation offers these to any fund in the Unity Foundation or anyone. And we do that because not every charity should be managing charitable gift annuities. So we do it for you so that you don't have to. And on the back of that is, it basically says that we enter into a contract. So if someone is age 70, then we will pay them, they'll give us money, and then we pay them 5.1% on that money for the rest of their lives, no matter how long they live. And that's what a gift annuity is. So they give us, let's say, $25,000. We invest that. We agree to pay them 5.1% for the rest of their lives. And they get a federal income tax deduction for that. Then if they use stock or things like that, then they get to defer their capital gains. They get to spread it out. And there's a lot of benefits to doing that, which are described in this really professionally done brochure that the Council on Foundations did for us. So it's a really slick way to do that. And then what happens is that the part that the IRS says they can deduct is what we'll give them credit for Pledge A Palooza. So gift annuities, for example, put you in the pot for the $15,000. So and these are what's called the poor man's trust, because they're free. I mean, they don't cost anything to set up. And then Sandy does this, then she wins because she gets income for the rest of her life, and we win because when she passes, then the money goes into your fund and to help you forever. Now, it doesn't feel like a win to, let's say, Doonbrook today, because they don't get to spend the money today, because we wait until they pass, because we don't know how much, if we're going to need the money to pay them. But it just means it's something that's for sure going to come in down the road that will help build their endowment fund. Any questions on gift annuities? Okay, they're really simple. And then other examples are trusts and outright gifts of life insurance or so. So if someone has an old life insurance policy they want to get, they're not going to use, they can actually donate that to the Unity Foundation for your fund, and that will generate an immediate income tax deduction, which will help you qualify for that.
If you have a life insurance policy you're not going to use.
That's true. We're all going to die. Let's just say that I know you are. No, and this is for people who, can afford to do that, not for people who really should be leaving, assets to their family, not debt. So, and I'm big on that. Revocable gifts are those that people can change their mind on, and examples of those. And these gifts are not eligible for the $15,000 pool because they don't generate, a gift right now, and people can change their minds, so they could take it back. So, but an example of this would be their wills, where there's a written bequest to, let's say, it has to be to the Unity Foundation, to, let's say, Doonbrook, the Children's Fund in Unity, for that to qualify. So because they don't generate a tax deduction today, this will be eligible for one of the special prizes. So the revocable gifts, and I know those are big terms, and we could think of something in English, but basically things you can't change, things you can change. Things you can change, then those go into the pool. So the agency that gets the most of those will win $1,000. So there's a reward for that. And the documentation is on the back side. What do they need to have? So I hope that answers all your questions, Pam. But we do need these things in writing. We need them signed and dated and valid. If they've left the Unity Fund for you in their will, and we have sample language in your folder, then we just need a copy of the will, and we don't need the whole will. We don't care if they're giving their jewelry to Aunt Betsy. We don't need to know that. We just need to see the paragraph, the signed page where it says that they've left, the Habitat Fund in their wills. So, and we need that by the 20th, because I don't want my board members and Warren sitting there that night in their tuxes trying to decide if that's a valid gift or not. So, we have a week to get that stuff processed. And again, but you can also leave your fund for as beneficiary of an IRA, and there's a flyer in your thing like this. Now the real tax benefits of this have expired, but we think they might come back in the next legislative session. But if not, people can still list your fund as a beneficiary in their IRA, and that will count toward the special prize. And again, these are things that people can do legally. They're all in the tax code. It's all good. But most people don't know they can do this. They think if they need to support your organization that they have to write you a big check. And a lot of people can't do that or won't do that. Or leaving your fund as a beneficiary of a CD or a life insurance policy or some of those. Those are easy to do, but again, we have to see some documentation that they actually did that. So, and that would be nice to set a goal for your organization to set a goal. We'd like to get 5 of those, or we'd like to get 3 of those, or even 1, because maybe even, does anyone know if they've been left in someone's will or gotten one of these things? Okay, few people, but a lot of people don't. So, and it's a good excuse to have a conversation with your donor base. Gee, have you left us in your will? We'd like to know that. And if they tell you that they have, even though they did it 5 years ago, if it's to you, if it's to the symphony, let's say, I'm just picking on Lee, and that doesn't count toward Pledge of Palooza unless it's going in to Unity for the symphony's fund, and then that would count. So, and I'm not suggesting they change their will unless it's okay if you, but at least you're going to know that they did it. You know, at least you'll have an idea. You'll know more than you knew before. And but if you want it to count toward the $1,000 special prize, then it has to be to the Unity Foundation, to your fund. So, and all right, which is up to you. We're not telling you what to do, but we hope you're going to know more about what your donors have done for you than you did before this started. Any questions on the nickel campaign? Okay, so I did. I've been thinking about it. Yes,
I
Cece.
have a question. I know you probably covered it, but I might have missed it. This will cost us 10% of any donation will go, 10% is what it's gonna cost, okay?
Yeah.
So even if somebody wrote a check at night, it would still be 10%.
It has to, yeah, it has to go through the leaderboard, so that would be counted as a pledge. Yeah, that's as far as I know. Now, again, we don't really want to have to take 10% off the top. And what that cost is, she was asking about the fee, the transaction fee, is we are, the credit card company and the online platform, they're asking for at least 5%, they take at least 5%. So, and then the platform itself for that night costs us $5,000. And I'm trying to find an underwriter for that.
So that's gonna, oh, I see.
Yeah, so then we have to pay for that, so,
Explain that to our donors.
right.
Yeah, okay.
Well, if they ask, I mean, everyone knows there's a cost to doing business, but it's more than normal just because of the magnitude of what this is. And, you know, the leaderboard people, you know, they got people awake, you know, 24/7 monitoring our board to make sure that everything's working the way it should. So, you know, that's a big commitment on their part. And the more transactions, the more things can go wrong. So, you know, but it's, so far I haven't heard any blow-ups or anything like that happening during an event. So we've really researched this a lot. So we will do our best to keep that down, but we're just telling you the top would be 10%. So if I find a sponsor for the leaderboard.
Try hard to win the top.
Yeah, that's right. So, but that's still not bad, you know, 90 cents on the dollar. And again, we're doing all this, you know, marketing and all this stuff, and we're, you know, again, that even the 10% wouldn't pay for all that anyway. I mean, that doesn't cover all that we're doing with this other stuff. So, and Sandy reminds me that we have to remind people that, you know, we're just like you in terms of operating money. You know, it just doesn't grow on trees, and just because we're sitting on a nice endowment, that money is for you, not, you know, for us. And the fee that we charge only covers about 60% of our budget. So, yeah, no.
Be able to explain to the board.
Yeah, but I do want you to know, because some people think, oh, we've got all the money in the world. No, we don't. So we have the same operating issues that you do, that you still have to diversify your funding streams. Well, thank you, Cece, that's good. But yeah, otherwise, we really looked at that, so we're going with a merchant who's going to charge us less on the credit card things. But it's, again, there's all these little hidden things that, you know, and we're trying not to have that happen. Any other questions on that? Okay, because I know we want to get out of here. How will we share this? We're going to get these materials up on the website hopefully this afternoon. since we'll need to be doing some editing of the video today, that might not go up right away. But then, again, people should be able to get the bullet points. But I hope the PowerPoint kind of tells you everything, plus the handouts. We can provide more training on a first-come, first-served basis. If there's enough demand, we could do large group sessions on fundraising and easy-to-understand plan giving things. And then, of course, the idea is to fill your tables for April 27th. What happens next year? Well, we've already made this investment, so how can we make this work next year? We're not sure. But what we're thinking is, since we've already made the investment in the platform, we might convert this to an annual give day, just like Porter County did and some others have done. That could either help all the funds in Unity, or it could be around a different theme, like arts or homelessness, hunger, youth. The one in Porter County was just around housing and homelessness, and they raised $186,000 in one day in Porter County through their Give Day. And I do want to talk to Porter County to see what other things they did, because they had a mobile group going around the county and I don't know how many gifts they got from that, whether that was a good.
It was only one.
Only one, okay. One gift.
Yeah, it was one gift. A lot of people thought that it was there to support Sandy. And so
Oh,
the bus,
yeah.
the RV, but they thought it was to support Sandy.
Okay, well, that might have been good timing, because maybe they gave more money, so I don't know. So we're thinking about doing that since we made the investment, so then we could do something in the future. So, again, not to compete with you, but to support, what you're all doing. And we want to work harder to make the pie bigger. I mean, get more people thinking about planned giving, get more people to think about giving regularly online to help your organization. And to engage new donors in new and meaningful ways, particularly our young people, because they're the ones who have said, Maggie, if you want money from me, I'm not writing a check, so you better come up with something else. So join the fun, join Pledge A Palooza, and I will entertain any other questions that you have. And I was wondering if our two winners that are here from last year would you mind sharing some of the results? And I'll give you the microphone so that we can capture this. We had the Y and JA talk at our lunch, as some of you heard, and they had a great time doing this.
First of all, Maggie, what's with those noses on those people? Oh my gosh. When we did this last, I believe that we had just come off our endowment raising campaign, which had just ended in 2007. So we were very worried about shaking people down again when we had just been shaking them down pretty heavy for 3 years. And there's always that worry about asking so many times. But one of our dear friends said, don't say no for people. Let them say no. So my memories of that is our gifts came that evening. I don't recall having the wealth of information that you've given us now and so early. So that gives us time to think ahead and really strategically plan how we want to approach people and to get people thinking. And having one of our board members here, I think, says a lot of our eagerness to be part of it and turn that around. What the feedback I had from that evening, people had a lot of fun, and it really was exciting. And the gifts that we received that evening were the bigger gifts. So I would love to find a way for us to try to capitalize on those smaller gifts too, because they add up very quickly as well. So that's all, I guess.
What did you do with the prize money? What did you do with your winnings? Do you remember?
You know, we use that money, I believe, whenever there's funding gaps, if a funder changes priority or there's a hole somewhere. And I would guess it probably was for our Parents as Teachers program, because that is one of the most difficult programs for which to find funding, which is ironic because we hear so much about how those early years are so important. The first 3 years, 90% of your brain is formed, but nobody wants to fund programs for that. So I think it probably went toward that.
Any questions for
And I should say that at that time, we didn't have the technology now that we have with electronic newsletters and Facebook and all of that. There's just so much more available to us.
Yes. In fact, one of the things that we thought you might ask, but haven't yet, is how do we get more email addresses of people? Because that really will be critical. We've been looking at the same thing. We've got 8,000 people in our database, and we only had emails for a fraction of them. So we found Debbie Sellers, our staff member, if she could be here today, she's covering the office, was at a seminar in Indianapolis, and there's a group called Updentity, which can increase the number of email addresses, live working email addresses that you might have from people. It's not inexpensive, but if you were thinking about how to do that anyway, that's just one option. So, and again, the stronger you are, the stronger our community is going to be. So we'll let Al comment from the Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you. Al's comments are going to be pretty short on this because I think, as you know, we weren't very much involved. As Pam said, that there wasn't this type of lead time the last time. And as far as our staff is concerned, we weren't very much involved at all. It was board-driven in our case. We have a couple of board members that were actively involved with Unity and were aware of this and actually informed us, or me, I think, his staff, that this was going to happen. And fortunately, as Pam said, I believe it was Pam that said, this is where you get your larger donations at this particular kind of an event, and that's what happened for us. We had a couple of really nice donations from some of our regular givers. And so with this lead time, I'll take this to the board, and we'll see, just what our participation will be this year. Next year, starting now. So, evidently it was a fun event. I was not present at the event even, and so we'll see, make different plans this time around.
Well, this is an opportunity to build the buzz in the community. So there's just not you out there knocking on doors. We want this to be visible enough that the community knows this is going on and that you can say, hey, we're part of this. And as you said, there's time, there's branding, there's messages. So you're part of a much bigger effort. And anytime you have a special opportunity to make an ask like this, it allows you to open the doors. Hey, this is happening with Unity, and we're going to do this. It's like, it's our 20th anniversary. I keep saying, let's capitalize on that because it is something special. It's the 40th anniversary for the symphony. And people, at least it perks them up. It's like, oh, that's something new. Oh, you've been around that long? And it's just that opportunity that we're trying to give you, a much bigger county-wide effort that you can move into. And yeah, the lead time's going to be great, and we're looking forward to working and supporting you all in doing this and really maximizing the amount of money we can bring into your funds.
Okay, and I thought if it's okay, Latasha, if we could get your kind of feedback on what just happened, because you've just lived through this, and Latasha's with Housing Opportunities, and I will hand it over to her.
Okay. We started in Porter County. It was circled around homelessness, and there were 17 agencies that were part of the Give Day. And we started on the 8th, Thursday, at 12 a.m. and finished at 11:59 p.m. that same Thursday. So it was, to plan for it, we had postcards, we had email blasts, we had Facebook posts, LinkedIn. We encouraged staff to copy and paste and put it out in e-blast and just everything. It went out in our newsletter, just as much marketing as we could about it. It was very intense because there were different points you could earn an extra $1,000 throughout it. The first agency to get 25 contributions, period, won $1,000. The first agency to get 100 contributions won another $1,000. So there was things that was very challenging for us. So a lot of us was up at midnight, and then we staggered this time so that we were all up at some point managing and watching the board. But it was very interesting. We had an RV that traveled throughout Porter County just to make it aware. We had a drive-in station in front of our office. We had a pop-up tent with balloons and signs everywhere, and we had staff manning it from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. And it was a fun day, but a very tiring day. It was very interesting. We had some donors that we had been trying to connect with that we hadn't been able to, but Give Day was a day that they were willing to connect. And then our funds are matched. So they had sponsors to give matching funds for that day. So it was all around a good day. We had a total of a little over $17,000 of just online donations for that time frame. So it was pretty nice for the first event. We were pleased with it, so.
And you were the winning agency, right?
We were, yes.
Let's give her a round of applause. She won. Yeah, and I think they probably won because they really, obviously you could tell, had their act together. And I hope nobody's pulling an all-nighter for ours. I hope not. I think that'd be dangerous. You gotta have sleep. We already,
We staggered staff through there.
did you, okay, yeah. Yeah, we don't. And, oh my gosh, yes, you could. Yeah, satellite parties. There you go, Lee. Yeah.
Skype, they can Skype in.
Skype in.
There is something to be said for being there and generating that excitement. I mean, I know Doombrick's great about doing that kind of thing. Like the spelling tournament that Literacy Council has, you know, the teams are all fired
Yeah,
up and
the
they're
Doombrick Divas.
egging each other on. And so, yeah, we want this to just, you know, really be fun and exciting and that sense of competition. And that's where we're different from Porter County, which was just the online giving platform. I mean, we're going to have an event to cap it off where everybody gets together, celebrates it, and it just takes it up to that, you know, that extra notch.
Yeah, and then we're going to be looking for some sort of MC. Last time we had Lee Morris, and he was dressed in a Dalmatian costume, and he was the pup for A Palooza. He was our mascot, and his wonderful wife Marcia had him on a leash all night long. It was hysterical, and they went around the room and kind of got people excited about bidding, and then Lee and I would. At the breaks, we would announce, again, we won't have the leaderboard showing all the time. We'll have, that evening, we'll have, you know, hors d'oeuvres and dinner, but we'll be honoring the founders of the Unity, you know, the Unity history and the people that made, the donors that have made this happen, and kind of looking forward. And then we'll intersperse with, you know, breaks for the leaderboard, kind of lookups and so forth and so on. So we'll have those up on the wall the whole, you know, during the evening, so we can kind of make the announcements and have people look. So as far as we know right now, we'll again see if we have 100 funds, we might have to scroll through them a little bit to kind of keep them going. But so it'll be a technical whiz thing, and that's why we were supposed to have our gala in this September, but we decided to postpone it for all these reasons, to give you enough time, give us enough time to get everything in place. So and it was going to fall on the Notre Dame Michigan game, which would have been a really bad idea. So, and Blue Chip wanted that night for something else, so it all worked out. And this will be a little bit after tax time, so we're hoping that people will have overcome that shock and be ready to support your organization. So, again, if you're ready to sign up, leave your forms with Sandy. If you want to take it back to your board, which again, I think that would be a better idea, then do that. But you know, we'll start getting them in, and then we'll have regular updates on our website and Facebook page on who's signing up, and we'll be promoting this as we go along. But again, this is a new thing for us, so if you have any ideas, 3 o'clock in the morning thoughts, people who wake up and can't get back to sleep, then
Would you be interested in entertainment? I mean, musicians or?
We might,
or grown-up
yeah.
children's chorus that will melt their hearts?
yeah. We would certainly entertain, you know, cocktail reception music, you know, things, the background kind of things, and we have used symphony performers before, which
Yeah.
we will pay them, you know,
Yeah,
because
we have some that will volunteer and some
Yeah.
that won't. And they'll do pretty reasonable.
yeah,
I mean, it depends what you want.
yeah, so we would consider that. So again, we're creating this together, so help us out if you have any great ideas, or, oh my gosh, you know, did you think about this? You know, please let us know, because it's still early in the program. And there will be people like Stan who wants to raise money for the scholarship fund for his wife, and that's just as worthy as, you know, a lot of other things. So he's going to be thinking about his own strategies, I'm sure, because he brings his friends from Pennsylvania into the mix. So it'll be a good thing.
And we'll be planning for the gala as well, and we will have a committee for that. So if you know anybody that really loves to do this kind of thing and put together, you know, special events, would like to be involved, let us know, because we're open to having some additional people on the committee to help us pull the whole evening celebration together.
As if you don't have enough to do. No, we really need new
I didn't
ideas.
say you necessarily.
Yeah, but you volunteers,
Anyone you
yeah.
know.
And then we also look for people on our scholarship committee as well, our general scholarship committee. So if you want to review scholarships, that's always a fun task. So, any other questions before we let you out? Okay, great. Thank you so much for your patience and attention, and we really appreciate your input, and have fun. And thanks to Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.